Hello. It is Wednesday, and we are here with our little Q&A lunch bunch. I don't even know. We've had so many goofy names for this. I feel like every time we should come up with a new one to be, keep it lively, keep it creative. But we have some great questions to talk about today, all of which kind of have, I think, kind of dual purpose. You could kind of lean this toward back to school or toward kids if you wanted to. But really, all of them actually work for, these are questions that pertain to all of us, depending on our situation. So we have Miss Diana Webb here from Diana Wellness is Essential. And and our lovely Miss Joan from Bosque Home Essentials.
Hello.
And we might have others pop in. You never know. It's kind of always a fun game, right? But we are here to answer your questions. If you have questions you would like us to answer, feel free to put them in the comments. You can email us at the addresses that you see in our little squares, our little Hollywood squares that we have going on here. And we would encourage you to, like and subscribe. We're trying to put out at least 3 to 5 videos a week right now that are all just education, right? This is pure education to help you to really kind of unlock the potential of what you've got sitting on your shelves at home, right? So shall we dig in, ladies? The first question is regarding Adaptiv. So she's talking specifically, this is a mother speaking about her child, about the Adaptiv supplements. She wants to be able to start using these before school starts, but she's concerned about it making her child drowsy, all right? So yeah, Joan, you already got your head is shaken.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say they should not make. I mean, we'll caveat that with everybody reacts slightly differently to these supplements, right? So test it out ahead of time for sure. But in my experience, personally, I do take them, and I sometimes take them in the morning before I start my day. And I always take it at night, but I also, if I'm feeling like I'm just kind of feeling a little anxious, I've got stuff going on, I'm having a grumpy day. These ladies know I've had a couple of grumpy days lately. I'll just, I'll pop an extra one, and I may pop one in the, like at lunchtime. If it's just keeping me a nice even keel, I do not find it makes me drowsy in any way. I just I find myself less flaring at stuff. Yeah. When my buttons are pushed, there's less of a reaction, right? But not at all drowsy. That's my experience with it.
Yeah. Well, don't you think too that I like the way you're describing that with the sort of less rage, or
it's less reactionary, right?
Less reactionary. You're adapting, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not because you're dulled. It's because you are actually more capable of hearing and reasoning through a situation without just jumping to a reactionary response. So I think that we're so used to things that help in this way to be dulling, if you will, and that's not what Adaptiv does, right? A lot of people use Adaptiv before bed. And so I think it has got a little bit of a reputation as sort of the restful, support. But the reason it's restful has nothing to do with the ingredients that are in here causing drowsiness. It's because a lot of people find it hard to fall asleep simply because their brain is, twirling and swirling about, and they can't release and just let themselves fall asleep, right? I've never had a problem. My kids use it. There's days I wish it made them drowsy, and it doesn't, but not really, I'm kidding, but but really, I've never noticed that. But I think you're right, Joan. That's a good point. Try it and see how you do.
Test it out first and see, because especially, right, and we know this, and I think that sort of goes into one of our other questions for today, is that, dosing can be a little bit different for everybody, right? We're all different shapes, sizes, metabolisms, all that stuff is different person to person. So I would say, by all means, try it before school starts, right? Don't just start it like the first day of school as you walk out the door, but see, right? And see, test it out. My sense is depending on the age of the child and all of that, I think it's going to be just fine. But absolutely test it out. And then, Diana had the other Adaptiv. I think she was holding up the roller and so forth. Send that to school with, for sure, right? So that can just be used in conjunction, because they do work really well together, right? They're made to sort of all work synergistically together.
That's perfect. And the same is true if you're an adult heading back to an office setting, or you're maybe transitioning, or whatever it is that you're looking for that support from Adaptiv. I would say give it a try. I would do it for a few days to kind of, because you really will start. It's not like a drug, right? It's not going to hit you and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, everything's cool. It doesn't work like that. You just start to notice that you haven't gotten as triggered by things as usual. But try it out and stick with it, right? Give it some time. But I think for me, it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, I think I talked about it in depth when I did the anxiety workshop that I think is now on YouTube. The difference it's made in my life is it has changed the trajectory of my happiness and joy and my relationships with my family. And that's a big deal, my confidence. So if you need those things, don't worry about, I don't want to have, it's not doing that. It's not going to make you tired. It's going to really help support you. Mm-hmm. So consider it, and definitely look at the collection. Go ahead, Diana.
I was just going to mention, in terms of like the ingredients that are in it, what you're looking at are lavender, coriander, wild orange, fennel, scaletium root extract, and GABA, and then ahi flower seeds. So when you look at the ingredients, they're really amazing, synergistically working together. But you can see that they do have, there's essential oils in there that do help you, with your digestive system also in there. And so if just give it a try first and see how your body reacts, and just see how you behave, when you have it. But for the most part, they're going to be absorbable in that way, and internally absorbed. They will metabolize, as Joan was saying, in different ways for each person. So for, you could only get benefits from it in terms of different systems of your body, as well as your brain and your mood benefiting from it. So those are the only, it's not side effects, it's side benefits. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's so true. And work with your wellness advocate to help figure out a good starting point. Start with one, and then play with it a little bit. For instance, I take 2 in the morning and 2 at night. Sometimes I have been known to take them midday, like Joan is saying too. Initially, I took them more often, like 3 times a day. Now I take 2 in the morning, 2 at night. And for me, that being consistent is most important. But I love it, and I don't have any issues with feeling drowsy. I mean, honestly, I don't feel anything. I just am me, but without the triggers bugging me from left and right. I mean, that's the only way I can really describe it. So really, really great tool, and great for this time. I mean, let's be real. People are transitioning again. How many times have we transitioned over the last year and a half? A lot. And it's wearing on us a little bit, right? So my 11-year-old daughter has been, pretty okay with everything. But the idea that things might actually not be continuing on this path of opening the way that we've been enjoying so much, boy, she is angry. She's not upset. She's angry. And so I'm like, hey, okay, we might need to start really, start to focus and address that and help her work through that. So that's going to be new on my list for this week, is helping her with that. So, and hopefully it'll all be okay. All right. So our next question is regarding, how do you put it? When the inability to sit still impacts your ability to really get things done, or to be able to function appropriately in a setting where people would like you to sit still. Okay.
Ants in pants.
Ants in pants, right? So again, this affects people of all ages. We are used to hearing about it with our younger people because of the fact that they are needing to be so much in a very tight box that everyone needs to sort of fit into, or else it's a problem. Whereas when we're adults, we can kind of choose professions, choose paths that suit our ability to sit or not sit, so on and so forth. Kids don't have that option, right? They're in school. You got to be at the desk. You don't get to pace the room. You don't get to stand up, jump, spin around, do all these things. So tools that are supportive for calming, that urge and that need, right? Any suggestions from you ladies? I know I've got a few, having had a few of these kids in my life.
Adaptive roller.
Yeah.
Right. I was just going to say, it's just a segue from what we were just talking about. Adaptive is great for that. Can be one of the tools in sort of a well-rounded arsenal to address, because it is a very multifaceted issue. And I know, as someone who was diagnosed at an adult stage in my 30s, and learning to understand that these sorts of issues tend to present very differently in girls than in boys.
For sure.
And so are often not addressed in girls because it doesn't present the same way. And so since it is sort of multifaceted, it's one of those where you're going to want to try a number of different things and put together the best protocol for you. But Adaptiv is a great place to start, and then to me to build on that with items that really enhance focus.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think my number one go-to in this situation is Vetiver. It's going to be Vetiver across the board on so much of what has to do with supporting focus, energy, comprehension, concentration, even stress and anxiety, right? That come with knowing that you struggle in these other areas, right? Vetiver on the feet every day, every night, before you go to bed, before you head out the door, after a bath, after a shower. As much as you can get Vetiver on your body, do so. It is absolutely so, it just kind of fills in all those gaps, that allow you to feel like you can kind of move through and have a successful day, right? I wish I had that. I love this suggestion too, coming in from Carolyn, one of our lovely partners. 100% Franklin. Where did I get that? Frankincense and copaiba. I love this under my tongue every single day, every morning. I'll do it a few times. I kind of do it like if I pass the bottles in the house, I'm like, ooh, I have some Franken cope, and it helps me to calm and cope and to center again. A lot of times what's happening when we have sort of that energy that doesn't have an aim, right? It's just kind of flying in directions without focus, is that we just aren't able to really kind of bring things together, right? To bring it in. And so it feels lost and loose and out of control. And things like Vetiver, frankincense, and copaiba all work beautifully to help to bring that into focus for us. It's not that you lose the energy, it's that you're able to focus it, right? Such a good thing. Yeah, go ahead, Diana.
I just want to shout out for the kids line. It works both on big kids and little kids and me too. Yeah. So, we have the wonderful steady roller, and that one's really like steadying and calming. And a lot of them do contain Vetiver, because Vetiver is so amazing for the brain. So, we have the steady, we have the calmer, we have thinker, and we have brave as well. And this one smells so good. It's so orangey and so like citrusy that it kind of like breaks through that hesitation. But like this also, the thing with having like a little roller that you can take to school with you, if you've tried it, like say you just do a little practice, and go like, okay, let's sit down like, and let's time ourselves just sitting here for 15 minutes or something, right? Let's just time ourselves to do that with your kid. And they're like, after like 1 minute, they can't take it, right? And then you try the study and see what happens. If that helps out, or the thinker, whichever one, then say, do it again at another, like a later time of the day or another day, and say like, okay, we're going to sit down. So what do you need to do? Let's practice. Get your roller out of your backpack and put it on. Is that helping you to stay still? Yes. Okay. Excellent. See, now you know exactly what you need to do when you're feeling those ants in your pants and you need a little bit of support. And I think all of us love to have something to do. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the guy on the diving, the British guy. He's crocheting in the stands. And right, that's why people invented those kind of little handwork things and allowed people to take them anywhere. They can go anywhere. They're super portable. But that's why, because all of us feel that. All of us are like, have nervous energy about something. He's watching his teammate. He's concerned about, oh my gosh, what's his score going to be? What's going to happen, right? But he's knitting or crocheting. I can't remember what he's doing, but he's, it's keeping his brain and his body busy at the same time, and allowing him to not turn it into like panic, nervous, cuckoo, crazy, And so it's always good just to even have that little. It's a good little habit to have, right? And it's a good little thing to be able to do just really quick and be able to get settled and know, okay, this is my routine. I'm going to get settled by putting this on, and then I'll sit down.
Yeah. Joan, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I'm so glad that Carolyn put that in there about the Franken-Copaiba. And I was going to say that it's one of the first things, excuse me, early on in my doTERRA journey. And I reached out to Carrie to say, what do I need for brain fog, right? I'm dealing with some brain fog. And you'd suggested putting the Franken-Copaiba and putting it in water and having it in my water and drinking it that way too. So that it struck me when Carolyn put that in there. But yeah, that was helpful for me as well.
It is so
great
good.
Stuff. Yeah.
So good for brain health and focus and kind of bringing everything together, right? Kind of, sometimes it's hard when you feel like things are just flying out of control. I want to say too, there are absolutely so many other factors at play. And so I know that we just did, last night we did a workshop on focus and concentration, and that will be available this week on YouTube. And it really talks about all of the other things that are coming together to sort of create, support. If you can look at things like nutrition and environment and screen time, and I know all the stuff that nobody wants, allergies, there's a lot to think about and a lot to look at. There is no one answer for everyone. And it is something that you're going to want to do a deep dive on to figure out if it's actually impacting the ability to learn or to work or to succeed at the things that you want to. You need to work with someone, and work it, really kind of dissect, keep a little journal, things of this nature about what's triggering, what's not, what's been successful, what hasn't, so that you have, you're making decisions for the best result. Right. And it can be hard, but we've been there and know the journey. So definitely reach out if you have questions on that. We are more than happy to help direct you or point you in the direction of some great information. Right. Okay. Our last question of the day is supplement dosage recommendations. So there is a lot of confusion for a lot of people because how long do you stay on the A2Z chewables with the IQ Mega, right? Versus starting the Lifelong Vitality at a half dose to a full dose. Can you mix and match both? What are the sort of rules of play here? And I can see why, if you, especially like my 11-year-old daughter is taller than Miss Diana now. She's really, really tall.
Not hard to be.
Well, it's true, but it's kind of picking on you a little bit there. But she's like 5'6", 5'7". She's a really tall 11-year-old girl. So does she need to be on LLV or A to Z chewables? And if she does the A to Z, is it weight? What is going on? So, any thoughts from you ladies on this? And I can dig in. I don't want to interrupt you.
Can I go back one question after?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I should have.
To the vetiver, frankincense, and copaiba. Is it possible to like make your own little capsule or your own little, like, how could you do that? Maybe put it in a kid's smoothie or something to get them to drink it?
Totally. I mean, I have found that honestly, a roller ball of those three on the brainstem. So they're like basically the hairline on the back of the neck, right? A little good inhalation, bottoms of feet. For younger kids is super duper effective. And even for adults, really. I mean, my father-in-law uses frankincense copaiba rollerball on his neck every single day to support that brain health and fog and things like that. But you could totally throw it in a smoothie or put it, in a veggie cap if they're able to swallow something like that, right? And in that case, I would wait till they were probably at least mid-school or so, because really topical is going to be hugely effective. So go with what works for you. I love if they are willing to do the copaiba and frankincense under the tongue. I'll give you a tip: do frankincense first. Because copaiba somehow, it like wipes out the taste of the frankincense. It kind of, I don't know, neutralizes it or something happens there. But trust me, that's the order I do it in. And it works great. 1 drop each under the tongue. The difference here is that it's going to get to work right away in the brain, in the mind, because it doesn't have to go through the digestive sort of system and get metabolized. It's immediately there, right? So really, really helpful if they can do that. My kids do it and love it. I mean, okay, they do it and tolerate it. They're not like doing jumping jacks like I just gave them, a chocolate bar, but they recognize it is effective and they're down for doing it. So it's not hot or sharp like a peppermint or an On Guard would be under your tongue. It's actually kind of like you just licked a tree, which is a weird taste, but I'll lick a tree if it helps me. I mean, I like trees. So anyway, anything else to add on that one, or we're good to go on to our dosage recommendations? So this is how I view each of the two, and you guys jump in anywhere and tell me what you think. The A to Z chewable is the perfect starting point to make sure that you're hitting all of that nutritional need, right? Which we're not getting. And let's be real, with all of the stress and stuff that happens in our day-to-day life, especially in this transitional weird world that we're living in now, we even need more support, right? So the A to Z chewable, I would follow the recommendation on the bottle, which I believe is 2 a day. I could be wrong. Somebody check me on that, but I believe it's 2 a day. At least in our household, we do 2 a day. And then the IQ Mega, which is an oil that you can put like in a tablespoon and take. So this works fantastic for anyone who is young and unable to swallow Lifelong Vitality. Okay, let's be real. These are relatively large capsules, especially the one, the white one. I just put them all in my container. So I like I have a sorter instead of the bottles, right? Anyway, so I would use that as long as it seems to be working for them. Once they hit though, like over 100 pounds, you might want to start looking at either upping that dose or switching to a half dose of the Lifelong Vitality. It is recommended that anyone, I think it's at 110, 120 pounds, really does about a half dose of the Lifelong Vitality. So, if you're sitting in that window, this is where my daughter is. She's fine with either one, but now she actually prefers, because she likes to take the ones that mom takes. She does a half dose of the Lifelong Vitality. So that means she takes one of each in the morning and one of each in the late part of the afternoon. You could even just start with one each in the morning and skip the afternoon if you're trying to transition through, okay? Once you get over that 120 into the higher weight levels, right? Because you're talking about a body that needs nutrition. and it needs a certain amount of nutrition based on its size. And so then I would start bringing in the actual full dosage on that. Now, that being said, I had a 24-year-old son who took the A to Z chewables because he couldn't swallow pills, but we doubled the dose. So what you have to think of it is that you have flexibility between this collection. I cannot say enough about the IQ Mega. Don't skip the IQ Mega, guys. Don't skip remember that question that we talked about earlier with the energy? Bring in that IQ Mega. All right. This is healthy, good omega fats for your brain, right? This is going to support you in so many different ways. So don't skip that one. If you have to put it in a smoothie, it tastes like oily wild orange. I don't know what do you think? It's like it's I don't know. It's like if you had just a non-tasting at all oil that had a little twinge of wild orange.
Yeah, I can't speak to it, because the only person in my household who takes the IQ Mega is my dog, and she likes it. She doesn't tell me what she thinks of the taste, but she likes it.
My dogs will argue over it. Like they will argue over who gets to lick. Like if one licks her whole bowl really, really clean before the other one, and they'll come over to the other one's bowl and try to get in there. And the other one's like, that's mine. It's a thing. We've had to separate them because they both want the IQ Mega. But, some kids don't like that oily thing, in their mouth. And so we throw it in a smoothie, throw it in something, but don't skip it. Right. So I don't know if this is at all helpful here. Let me see here. It's 1 teaspoon a day. Thank you, Diana, for pointing that out. 1 teaspoon a day of the IQ Mega. Don't skip it. So my adult son was doing 2 a day, 2 teaspoons a day. And it has, even with the LLV, I got to tell you this, it's good for him to keep using it because that's an area that he really needs support in, is with his omega-3s. And so he keeps going with it. I'm like, hey, as long as he's doing it, yeehaw, go. It's really, really, really good for you. Yes. So Diana is saying, go ahead, Diana, and share what you just found out on the dosage for the A to Z. Sorry, you got to unmute.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Yes, it's for kids. You're going to want to do the 2 tablets daily. And for adults, you can do 3. So it does have a dosage there for adults just to support you. And I do think that, people, they like to start slowly when they do the LLV. Many people, because they're just not used to it. They've never had this kind of helpful situation in their body before. And so it's really good to go ahead and just start on the half dose for the first week that you're on the LLV. And so that's the pack of the 3. And then you're just going to start the half dose, and then move up to the full dose as you get into the second week of taking them.
Perfect. Oh, I heard myself twice. Oh, I'm playing back on your thing there, Diana. Sorry, I'm going to hit your mute for you. That's all right. It's me. Anyway, so yeah, play with it. Some of us have big kids, and you might have to go start taking the LLV. I have a father-in-law who had major problems with he really lost the ability to swallow after a stroke. So he couldn't, everything he had to be, a liquid, for the most part. But even then it was a whole thing. Trust me. I'm sure I've talked about it in many of these classes before, but the A to Z chewables became a wonderful resource. So don't limit it into the little kid. This isn't Flintstones. Okay. This is just a different way of bringing it in that allows people who don't swallow pills well to be able to get really good supplemental support in their nutrition. So I like to think of it that way. So use it and work with it. You can partner them together. You can, transition. You have that playroom. So reach out if you have, questions on that. I like Diane is mentioning too, we have a wonderful customer who's been really actively supporting her mother who's in recovery and has had to do the LLV in applesauce. And wasn't she was opening them and putting it into the apple. So, they are like slide apart capsules. She was opening them and putting them in the applesauce and did amazing wonderfuls that support, it's a big picture. It's not like took the LLV and was, what I mean? There's a whole picture involved. That's, a lot to go into in this, but, the support was there and she really benefited from it. So there's a lot of different ways. In her case, the chewing of the A to Z was something that wasn't going to happen. So she needed something that was going to work better in like an applesauce where it was really just the swallowing. So you see what I'm saying? You have a lot of options. And with kids, really think size, think weight, more so than, age. Does that make sense? Some things we talk about kids as not being little tiny adults. And so you're really thinking developmental age. In our supplements, you are looking more toward weight. That's what I have found to be the recommendation. So anything else to add, ladies, on any of these topics or anything else for that matter? Oh, Tammy's saying, please send link. We're done. I'm sorry, Tammy. I'm so bummed. I totally forgot, you guys. It's a whole thing. We don't need to get into it. Go ahead, Joan.
No, I was just going to unmute and just say, yep, I think these are great questions. And really, as we discussed a little bit amongst ourselves earlier, right, really applicable to all kinds of people, right? It's not just about kids or, just about going back to school, right? This is some really great info across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to reiterate the, when you prep yourself and you create, an environment where you're going to succeed at doing something, for example, having the vitamins right there where you're getting ready to go so that you make sure that you're having them with right after breakfast, whatever, like whatever's going on with your, how you do things in your morning routine and getting ready to go. And even just starting back into, programming your day, like have the clothes ready, have the vitamins ready, have ideas about the snacks and everything laid out the night before, and just program yourself for success. And this is for adults as well as kids, and realize, like, hey, if I do like a little practice of this, that will help me, because then I'll get back into these habits and I won't end up, make the habit convenient, Tammy. That's a great idea. Yeah. And, you won't end up falling off of it or sitting there having another level of anxiety because, well, I forgot the thing. And then I forgot that other thing. And oh my gosh, oh God, my day is just starting out terrible. Oh, I can't believe I did that. You just get yourself into this like loop of craziness. So set yourself up, be ready to go, make sure that you're putting on that mask before you help the kids with that mask. We're helping people because we love them, but we also need to take care of ourselves in order to help others. So just get everybody set on that in your household, and then you can really be just like starting off great, having a great start to your back to school or back to work or whatever, back to
whatever it is. Stuff. Yeah. I think too, a lot of times people think the last thing I need right now is another hurdle, another step, another confusing thing that I don't fully understand that I need to do each morning. And I get you. I feel you. Believe me. Do not add anything to my plate, please. But when you do like what Tammy and Diane are suggesting, where you just have it out and have it ready, like just have it, like I have a drawer in my kitchen that everybody knows about and they go to, and that's where their supplements are. That's where everything is. And all I have to do is say, did you do it? It makes it easy. Maybe if they're younger, you have to get it out and have it be part of breakfast or whatever. But I promise you that little tiny bit of effort will change the success and the value and the results of your day, your entire day. So if you're going to focus on anything, look, if they go to school without matching socks or you go to work without matching socks, that's okay as long as you had your Adaptiv and your lifelong vitality on board. let's think about, where things need to be as far as priorities go. So this was a lot of fun today, and I hope it was helpful for everyone. Thank you so much to Diana and Joan and Tammy popping in on Facebook. So happy to see you. I hope that you guys got some good answers. Our email addresses are again in our little Brady Bunch boxes, and you can reach out to us. Also, our website has a lot of information as well as contact for all of our wonderful community of people. You can reach out to any of us, and we are here to help. I'm going to double check. Yeah, so love you guys. We will see you next week. Watch for those other videos that are coming out. We've got that focus and concentration probably tomorrow. I think I'll try to get that up for you guys. So happy Wednesday. Enjoy your lunch. And we'll talk again.
Everybody.